ओम योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि. Friends, on Monday we read first 7 sutras of the second chapter called Sadhan Path from Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And the context, let us remember that in the first chapter we were given several stages of concentration. Very penetrative concentration, which will result in a lot of inner knowledge based on truth. And then with the power generated by the concentration and also with that knowledge, we were asked to try for asamprajnata samadhi, that is, not allowing any wave to rise in the mind. Then Patanjali found that there are many people who do not have the power to concentrate at all. So he comes to take care of all those people, and in the second chapter tells us that you have to do something which is possible for you, and then that will lead you to concentration. That is how the second chapter started, and that is why it was called sadhanapada, the means to achieve the concentration. And we read in the first sutra, Tapa Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhan, that is called Kriya Yoga, doing something to get the concentration. We have seen the meaning of these three. Tapa, we read according to Gita 17th chapter. Swadhyaya, repetition of a mantra and study of scriptures. Ishvara Pranidhan, dedication of the fruits of work to God. Then Samadhi Bhavanartha, Klesha Tanu Karanarthascha. They will lead us to Samadhi, means concentration, and they will remove they will make the kleshas powerless. And then the kleshas were defined: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, pancha klesha. So our ignorance or wrong knowledge, the first product of which is I consciousness, our likes and dislikes, and our clinging to life, these are the troublesome obstructions due to which we are not able to concentrate. These will be made powerless if we do the Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhan Kriya Yoga. Then in the fourth sutra we were told, Avidya Kshetram Uttaresham Prasupta Tanu Vichinna Udaranam. Avidya is the field in which the rest four are born, and they are in different states, sometimes dormant, sometimes powerless, sometimes overpowered by some other sanskaras, and fully active. Then he defines what is ignorance in the fifth sutra, important sutra, Anitya, Ashuchi, Dukkha, Anatmasu, Nitya, Shuchi, Sukhatma Khati, Avidya. To take something temporary, to take something momentary, to take something continuously changing as permanent. That is the first sign of our wrong knowledge. Ashuchi, something unholy, we are taking to be holy. That is our body. Dukkha, some pain we are taking to be our pleasure. I give the example of the camel chewing the thorns of the tree. Anatmasu, they are not myself, and yet I think they are mine. That I am. this body or indriyas or mind are not my reality, but I continuously behave as if that is my reality. So this is how Patanjali has defined wrong knowledge. We added that according to Vedanta, unreal is being taken as real, not only non-self, but that is unreal, and we are continuously taking it to be real. Prakriti, body, indriyas, mind and all that are not real in themselves, but we are taking them to be real, and this is the wrong knowledge under which we are working. The I consciousness or asmita or individuality or personality was explained by Patanjali in the 6th Sutra. Drik darshana shakti or ekatmata eva asmita. Drik means the pure consciousness which we are. And Drik Shakti means the instrumentality through which we perceive the world. Our mind, buddhi, indriyas, they are the instrumentality through which we perceive the world, but we feel the union between them. We feel we are that. The ignorance gives the first product as I consciousness, and this I consciousness consists of I am the body, I am the indriyas, I am the mind, where these are actually the instruments of perception, but we feel, we know wrongly that they are myself. This is the crux of all our so-called individuality or personality. Each person has different body, mind, indriyas, and he identifies himself so much with that becomes his individuality, that becomes his personality, that becomes his I consciousness. Then in the 7th we were told, Sukhanushayi Ragaha, where we have got some pleasure, feeling of pleasure, there we become attached. So we are working under the impulsion of the pleasures which we feel, and we become attached to that. Dukkhanushayi Dvesha. And where we got some pain, there we feel dislike, hatred, anger, all these things come, or places, objects, persons where we felt some pain. Then the 9th very important sutra, Swarasavaihi vidusho api tatharudo abhinivesha. Swarasavaihi, flowing in its own way, vidusho api, vidusha here is the learned person, api, in him also, Tatha Rudo has become so much firm in him also. Abhinivesha. Abhinivesha is clinging to life, not wanting to die, not wanting to get separated from this body. These are the Pancha Kleshas which we have. And we read up to this on Monday. Now in this context we are reading the next sutra. Te Pratiprasava heva sukshma. Te Pratiprasava heya sukshma. Now while reading Patanjali, we have to understand, sometimes he tells an abstract higher thing in a particular context. It is not practical for us to deal with this now. Te sukshma. Te means all these 4 or 5, 4 kleshas, that is te. Sukshma means, sukshma has to be taken first. Sukshma means when they are very subtle, when they are in the previous language tanu, when they are almost powerless. At that time what we should do is being told now. Because he has already told that they are in 4 forms, sometimes dormant, sometimes very less power, sometimes obstructed by others, sometimes powerful. Out of this, suppose they have very little power, then how we can deal with them? Prati prasava heya. Heya means to be rejected. Heya means to be rejected when they are sukshma, subtle or powerless. Prati prasava. Now this word we have to understand. As we know, Patanjali has based it on Sankhya philosophy. So how the world was created? There was this Prakriti, indiscrete matter, in its own balance. Somehow it became disturbed. Then the first product was Mahat. It has not yet been described here. It will come in a much later future sutra. But he is mentioning it here. That from Prakriti came Mahat, the universal Buddhi. From that came the individual Ahankaras, individual I consciousness. From there came the 5 subtle elements. And these 5 subtle elements made up our mind, made up our indriyas, made up the objects. And then they became gross. Now, all these kleshas, when they are very powerless, they have to be resolved in their causes. When we see Akasha, Vayu, Teja, Jal, Prithvi, they have to be resolved in the subtle elements. The subtle elements in the reverse order, the earth can be resolved into water, water into Vayu, Tej, Vayu and Akash. And then Akash will go back to Mahat. In this way they have to be taken care of. When they have little power. When they have very little power, Prati Prasava. Prati means in the reverse order, Prasava means being born. The reverse order of their being born, we have to resolve them in their causes. The meaning will be any effect has to be resolved in its cause. This is possible only when we have proceeded very far in our penetrative concentration. So though this chapter is telling about the means to concentrate, but this point has come philosophical. So he says that when they are very powerless, we have to reject them by taking them in the reverse order of their birth. So if they have come out of the Mula Prakriti, we have to make them go back to the Mula Prakriti by our powerful concentration. So this is the 10th Sutra. Now practically, we are dealing with the practical life. And dhyana or meditation also has not been taught up till now, mind you. But we can attempt. So in the 11th Sutra we are told, dhyana heyas tad vrittayaha. When they are active, when the kleshas are active, they are throwing so many waves in the mind. And this wave in the mind can be rejected by meditation, by penetrative concentration, mind you. Meditation in Patanjali is penetrative concentration. So through penetrative concentration, their gross forms, the waves which they are throwing up, could be rejected. So this is somewhat practical, though not here. So because he has mentioned kleshas, different states of kleshas, he is telling us how to take care of them so that they do not obstruct us. He has already told that tapas sadhyaya Ishvara pranidhan will make the kleshas powerless. And if they are made powerless, then we are gaining the power of concentration. And then we can resolve them in their causes. And when they are throwing out waves, we should try to meditate, which is also possible after tapaswadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhan. This is how we get the connection. Meditation is possible after we have done tapaswadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhan. So through meditation, we can make their waves subside. When anger is coming in us, when likes and dislikes are becoming too strong, if we sit quiet and try to meditate, their power will be reduced. Their gross forms will go away. They will become subtle. So that is what he has told us here. Now, 12th Sutra, Klesha Mulaha Karma Ashayo Drishta Adrishta Janma Vedaniyaha. Klesha, we have seen Panchakleshas, they are the mool, root. Klesha Mula means kleshas are the roots. Karma Ashayo. We have to understand very clearly now. All these waves are making us do some karma. We are doing activity because we cannot keep quiet. You try to understand this. I remember in a factory, I went and I was talking with workers. And I said, can you tell me why we live? They tried and tried, they could not reply. I told, I will tell you, because we do not die, we are living. Similarly, why we work, if you ask yourself. Some people say for the stomach, it is the wrong answer. Rich people have their stomach filled. Lot of bank balance is there. Do they not work? Some people will say it is for satisfying the hunger of all our organs. I tell you, we work because we cannot keep quiet. If the humanity understands this, 90% of our troubles will go. The parents tell us, we did so much for our children. Should they not do something for us? We ask them, who asked you to do? You could not keep quiet, so you did. That is over now. Don't expect anything. We do not expect the result of work. If we understand, we are working because we are restless. We are working because we have the Panchakleshas. We are working because Asmita, Rag, Dvesh and Abhinivesh are in us, so we are working. Now, what does this work do? Whatever work we do, it produces two results. One is the outside result, which we call phala. If we do some job, we'll get money. That is outside result. If we steal, we may be put to jail. That is outside result. But simultaneously, there is an inside result. So many things are there to explain in this sutra. Simultaneously, karma producing outside result, it also produces a sanskar in us, an impression in us. The impression makes us repeat it again sometime in future when the opportune moment comes. So whatever work we do has not gone away. We have to be so much careful about our work. Every work, and work means even our thought, even our feeling, that is a work. In our breathing is a work, our eating is a work. To the extent Patanjali has told us, our sleep also is a work. Every work producing an outside result has simultaneously produced an impression in us, which may jump upon us later on like a tiger. Now, the sum total of these impressions are in our mind. And life after life, it does not leave us. The sanskaras, the sum total of the sanskaras does not leave us life after life. And so, that is called karma ashaya. Here the word used is karma ashayo. Ashaya means the storehouse. Storehouse of all the sanskaras produced by all the karmas up till now. What is the root of this? Klesha Mula. So the connection is like this. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesh, Abhinivesh are the roots of our karma, and which again gives rise to the sanskaras, and so it is the root of the bundle of sanskaras which we carry life after life. Now, when do we get the results? When do we see them again? Drishta, Adrishta, Janma, Vedaniya. Vedaniya means to be known or experienced. Drishta, Janma, Vedaniya. That means some of them fructify in this very life. Something we have done, it has made an ashaya, and that fructifies in this very life, but not all. Many things go deep in our mind, they remain there, and they will show the results in our next life. Adrishta Janma Vedaniya. That life which you are not seeing now, future life is called Adrishta Janma. Vedaniya means to be known or experienced. So this sutra tells us that kleshas are the roots of karma, which is again the root of the bundle of sanskaras, and out of this bundle of sanskaras, some fructify in this very life and some others wait. They will fructify in our future lives. Important things which we have to get rid of slowly. So Patanjali has analyzed and described this. Now, 13th Sutra, please remember, very, very important. Very important. Sati Mule Tadvipako Jati Ayur Bhoga. Sati Mule, that means when the root are there. Sati means when it is present. Mule, the root. Tadvipako, Vipak is the result. The result will also come in what form? Very important, we always talk of prarabdha. We are under prarabdha. The Hindus know it too well. That we are under the impulsion of our past karmas. Now Patanjali here, very important, clearly defines how much they will affect us, in what respect. What they will do? Jati, Ayur, Bhoga. Jati does not mean here the caste. Jati means the type of birth which we get, the circumstances under which we are born. Whether we are born as a human being or an animal or some gods will depend upon the ashaya of karmas which we are carrying. If we are born as human beings, whether we are born in America or India, I imagine it like this, though Ishvara is not being told by Patanjali, that God has a super computer, and immediately at the time of our death, we take up a new birth. And the new birth is not hereditary or according to our parents. The new birth is according to our karma shaya. This is the first point. There are some very active people. If we are active sanskaras, we are born there. If we are philosophically minded, we will get birth in a philosophical family. Sometimes we find the reverse, that in a family with bad sanskaras, some very holy person is born, because that is suitable for him. So remember, our birth is not in our present hands. Karma yattam kule janma, that is what Karna told in Mahabharata. That our past karmas decide what type of birth we are getting. That is called jati. Okay, we are born, and then ayu. This also is decided in general by our past karmas. How long shall we live? Now, accidental deaths and all these are different. But normal routine way, the span of life is also decided by our past karmas. So Patanjali is now showing us what are the things pre-decided for us. Where we will be born, how much we will live, and bhogaha means what pleasure and pain we will get in life. Patanjali is clearly telling us only three things are decided. We are free to improve. We are free to do fresh work. We are free to do sadhana to become perfect. In all these respects, we are free. We are bound in three respects. And about this, we need not grumble. We have to take that for granted. What will be type of our birth? How much span of life we shall get? And what pleasure and pain we shall get? This is pre-decided. So if somebody feels he is having unlucky and all that, there is a formula. You get what you deserve. So what you have worked for in your past life, that you are getting now. Swami Vivekananda has made this a part of his philosophy by telling us that if you are the result of your past karmas, then what will be in future will be decided by your present karmas. So do the right works now. Don't bother about your previous things. Patanjali has analyzed that what we call prarabdha, the momentum of the sanskaras of past life which have begun to bear fruit in this life are called prarabdha. Patanjali says sati mule, that being the root being present, tad vipako, the result of that root will be jati, ayu and bhoga. Nothing more than this. Now, the variety of life which we see, te lada paritapa phalaha punya punya hetutvat. Hetutvat is the reason. Let us take that first. In the previous life, we have done some good works, we have done some bad works. These good works result into lada, happiness. The pleasure moments which we are getting in this life, the joyful moment we are getting in this life, he has told. Bhoga is decided by the past life. Now that bhoga is being split into two. Important lesson here is, suppose we have done something bad. If we do something good, it does not cancel that bad thing. Bad thing will result in bad result, good thing will result in good result. If we go beyond this karma, if you separate ourselves from the Prakriti, we know we are pure consciousness, then all this is cancelled. There is no rebirth at all. But so long as the rebirth is there, good works will give us good result, good works will give us joy, lada. Paritapa is dukkha or anxiety or being heated. That is the result of our bad works. Punya and apunya are the hetu of our joy and sorrow, you may add. Phala, phala is the result. Te means bhoga. Last word was bhoga. Jati ayur bhoga. So for bhoga he refers to te, those bhogas, those pleasure and pain are of the nature of pleasure and pain. They are the results of in the previous life what holy or what good things you have done, what bad things you have done. Now, Patanjali's brilliant analysis comes again. Brilliant analysis. He has told that we get some pleasure and some pain. Now he tells all is pain only. The pleasure also is a pain, and the pain is a pain. We have to analytically feel this. In the Gita also Bhagavan tells that this life is a collection of miseries, dukkhalayam. Bhagavan Buddha also told the noble truth is that the world has pain. Now Patanjali has his own analysis, beautiful analysis now. In the 15th Sutra, Parinama, Tapa, Sanskara, Dukkhi, Guna Vritti Virodhacha, Dukkhameva Sarvam Vivekina. Viveki, a man who discriminates, a man who analyzes, he will find that everything is pain. The people who do not analyze, they will undergo pains, but they will not understand they are having pains. So for a Viveki, for a discriminating man, see, Parinama, that means we are enjoying, and the result of that enjoyment will be misery. Common examples, if we like some sweet, particular sweet, we become attached, we eat more and more, the result will be stomachache. Every happiness, if you mark, ends into pain. Every happiness. Because pleasures are temporary, they will not last. They are the result of our past holy works. And when they go away, they leave pain. Swami Vivekananda has beautifully described the situation. He says, every pleasure comes to us wearing the crown of pain. The crown of pain wearing, we get every pleasure. So when we are enjoying pleasure, the end will always be pain. Say one point. Second point, tapa. Tapa is the anxiety. Paritapa also has anxiety. Tapa means when we are enjoying, we are always afraid this should not go away. If we are eating, somebody will take away. Even a man marries, but he is always anxious, my wife should not go away. He earns money, he feels money should not go away. So a Viveki man sees that he is continuously beset with anxiety for loss of the pleasure which he is having. The end point of pleasure is pain. Secondly, the anxiety contained during pleasure is also painful, very painful. Then sanskar. Sanskar is the impression. If we eat something, if we have any pleasure, it leaves an impression and it causes the desire to enjoy more and more. And this can never be satisfied. We cannot have pleasure all the time. So the resultant impression which causes us to seek for that pleasure again will be obstructed at some point. And this will lead to pain. Whatever we are enjoying is leaving sanskaras in us which prompt us to seek that pleasure again, and no pleasure can be had indefinitely. Somewhere it will be obstructed and that will generate misery. So a Viveki foresees all these things. Parinama tapas sanskara dukkhi. So these are the three things bringing pain: the parinama of pleasure, the anxiety during pleasure, and the sanskaras left again being pain. But somehow, suppose somehow we are able to satisfy this. But there is another thing, and that is a very, very important thing, very important. Guna vritti virodhacha. You know, our life consists, Prakriti consists of sattva, rajatama gunas. Sattva means equipoise, balance, that is sattva. Rajoguna is restlessness, activity. Tamoguna is inertia, sleep. Now, the gunas are three, but their combination will lead to infinite waves. And two waves will oppose each other. What will we do? Example, we want to earn more and more money, but people should call us good. So, we cannot go by the wrong ways. Now, these two vrittis, one is wanting to earn more, second vritti is seeking praise from people. It keeps us in check. So, these two vrittis collide. These three gunas result in such a way that two desires of ours are opposite to each other. We want to please some big man, and that may cause our downfall. So if we analyze, Patanjali has analyzed, Parinama, Tapas, Sanskar, Dukkha is on one side, but eternally, two desires in the mind, due to different combination of gunas, are opposing each other. Guna, Vritti, Virod. Gunas are the three gunas. Vritti are the waves given rise by the three gunas. Virod. They are opposing each other. We want to study, but eyes become bad. We cannot keep awake in the night. We want to study more. Everywhere we will see that within our mind there are two waves opposing each other. Whatever good thing you may think, I will go on doing something. I become lazy, I become tired, I am not able to do. So, this guna vritti virod can never be avoided in our life unless we have gone beyond the gunas, unless we have transcended all these things. So, Patanjali says that some pleasure comes, some pain comes, but mind you, even that pleasure is pain. That pleasure is pain due to, I will tell a funny story, then you will understand. In the West, there is an idiom. You see, life is death, Swamiji says. A candle is there. And a candle becomes a candle only when we light it. That moment the death has started. Now, if somebody wants to enjoy what they call fast life, the idiom in West is that don't burn your candle at both the ends. If you burn candle at both the ends, the light will be very big, but it will get exhausted quickly. One young man has gone to a doctor, and the doctor will examine him. The young man is telling the doctor, please don't tell me, don't burn your candle at both ends. Supply me more wax if you can. This is human mind. And no more wax can be added. Jati Ayur Bhoga are decided. And so, this is Guna Vritti Virod. And so Patanjali says that every pleasure is pain for the Viveki, for one who is analytical mind. Now what is to be done? Heyam dukkham anagatam. What we have suffered, we have suffered. What we are suffering. But those dukkhas which are going to come in future, anagatam, dukkhas which I have not yet met with, that can be avoided. Patanjali is giving us some lessons by which the anagata dukkha, the dukkhas which are to come in the future, heyam, can be rejected. We can reject the future dukkhas. How he is telling us? He is giving us the method now. Drashtu drishyayo sanyogo heya hetu. He means that which hetu means the cause of the dukkhas which are to be given up is drashtu drashyayo sanyogo. Back to the original philosophy. We are pure consciousness, that is called drashta, the seer. And everything else is object. My body, indriyas, mind are object. Drishta, the 17th sutra I was reading, Drashtu Drishyayo Sanyogo Heya Hetu. Hetu means the reason, cause. Heya means that which is to be given up. Drashtu means the seer. Drishta, the 17th sutra I was reading, Drashtu Drishyayo Sanyogo Heya Hetu.